All right, we are live once again. Let me throw the links in the Discord. I don't know how long I'll be able to stream today. Honestly, not feeling super hot right now, but we will see. Let's grab this link real quick, and then we can jump into the game here. Okay, we're good to go. And I'm just going to run this ad on Twitch right now because then I don't have to do it in 10 minutes. But today we're going to probably work on some more optimization stuff. I guess I didn't really even do much optimization, to be honest. Yesterday I was playing around with a lot of stuff. What did I do yesterday? I feel like it was productive. We did a lot of stuff. Like, what is going on? Why do I have 30 FPS? Unreasonable. We did a lot of optimizing on the Walking Giant to make sure it's not jittery. Let's look. Okay, our draw calls are still around 490. We're still spiking up to like 600,000 primitives. 260 there. Like, what is causing that many primitives? Because I feel like that's more than it should be. Let me ask ChatGPT here. How many primitives per frame should a low poly game be showing? $1 million is my max reasonable budget. Duplicated meshes, too many foliage instances. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's go here. We're going to take our foliage instancer. We're going to clear this. Actually, wait. Okay, it did actually clear it. Nope, it did not. Okay. Which means we gotta go here, and then we gotta go back. We're going to clear all of our grass. And see if that's having an issue. Because it is a grass scene, so maybe there's something to do with that, it being an actual scene. But there's clearly something going on. Okay, now we're at 123. Draw calls are lower. We need to drag this up a bit. We're still at like 400 draw calls. Which is kind of crazy. What happens if I pick up all the items? It's like LOD stuff can't matter this much for something that has this few polygons. I mean, maybe it does. Maybe for like these trees, I need to change something up and make them like literally just squares. Draw call's still at 380. 120,000 primitives. So I do feel like the primitives have gone down quite a bit just from removing the grass. Maybe we just need to do, maybe we just can't do foliage instancing. Like as far as using terrain 3D. Why am I still at 30 FPS? There's just zero reason I should ever be at 30 FPS. There's nothing going on in this scene. I'm going to go back to that region size. Maybe that was throwing it off. And maybe it's not that. Maybe it's still some constraints or something. Memory seems like I shouldn't have that much memory going on. Yeah, what could possibly bring me below 100 FPS with this world? To 50, 45. It's just got to be the terrain. Fade, what's up? How you doing, man? We've reduced the LOD on the terrain by a lot. And yet we're still at just like not good FPS. Let's make sure that okay, VSync is disabled. What could be causing all of this? Okay, we start our profiler again. Start looking at that. How could I have basically an empty world and it still be like this? I thought we had fixed it by turning off VSync. We still have setup constraints taking so much. Let me go ahead and let's delete all of our items. Alex, what's up? How you doing? Okay, now we're getting decent frame rates. Oh, now we're back down. Okay, but they're not bad. Is it just my items? Seems like my items are taking up a ton of... Let's start this again. Dude, maybe it's just my items. My item scenes. Setup constraints is now way lower. Dude, I think it is. I think it is just my item scenes. Oh, now we're down to crazy. We had some lag there for a second. Let's see if we can get it to happen again. Yep, there we go. But it's not dropping it. Oh, okay, it's 60. Okay, we still have some, let's, oh my goodness, come on. Clear, start. Nope. We're just gonna fly around a bit. Okay, honestly, I think it was our setup constraints. Of course, now we're getting a big drop off. Because our item scenes are rigid bodies. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at our rigid bodies, or our item scenes. So on ready, we update item display. Then we do this. Create convex shape. Let's call this a static body. What do I need to do again? Okay, now it's breaking again. Okay, it's still breaking on that. I don't know why it's breaking there. If I reload current project, then it gives me that. Perfect. I think it's literally my rigid bodies. Let's delete this. Okay. Then we're going to go back in. We're going to add an item scene. This is going to have the axe resource. Okay, now we duplicate this a bunch of times and see what breaks. See if my FPS drops like crazy. Okay, apparently you don't run into these things anymore. Okay, maybe it's just a specific axe or a specific item. But this didn't used to cause issues. Why did my FPS get so much better when I did this? Okay, now it's dropping. Oh, look at that. So setup constraints was giving us the issues there. I think it's just the amount of rigid bodies we have here. And the way we do our item scenes. Because right now we Set the collision shape. Okay, let's see how many times it does this. Okay, it happened a lot more times. Let's clear that. I'm going to pick up one, and then I'm going to drop it. It's happening 4 times. Why? Dropped item dot setup. Okay, so it's not that. We're running this like 18 different times. I think we can just do this. This is a cursor's fault. Okay, we still have way too many. Okay, now it happens twice. Why is it happening twice? Because we're running setup and then setup. Should just do it once. Well, we run setup. That changes the item. When the item change, it says item equals value, and then we update this. We say if this, then we do this. Oh, but we're setting it here and then setting it again. Which means we might have been running. Okay, why do we still have this many update item displays? Broke. This is what we can do. We don't need to have this set value here. And then on ready, we can update item display. Broken. Global class item scene. That's because of this. 1:. Okay, now we don't have nearly as many setups. Let's clear this. Pick this up. Drop it. It's still running it twice. Why? Oh, because on ready. How do we get it to how do we get it to do all this? We need to pass in the correct item and stuff. How do we get it to do it initially? I guess it's not the worst if it does that. If it does it twice, except for these collision shapes. Generating that twice. I think we might be able to just pull this out of here. Oh, but then it does that. Okay, it's just gonna run twice. That's fine. At least we're not running it 4 times. Let's pick all these up. Why is this being so... weird? Okay, we still have times where like setup constraints are kind of crazy. Let's not do auto start. Let's clear. Actually, let's just grab all of these, delete. We're gonna add a bunch of these into the scene. And let's see how this goes. One thing I can do is go here. We don't have to print this anymore. Save. Okay. Okay. Frame rates. Kind of fine over here. These do not need to roll. That's the thing. But my frame rate's not terrible right now, so maybe that did kind of... maybe we were just generating way too many of those things, but that's only like when they first load in. Yeah, and we're still dropping to like 60. Bruh. Okay, let's start this. To a big up. Fly around a bit. Still, this setup constraints thing is like 90% of it. It's like, how much physics am I actually running here? Now we're at 60, 55, 49. Bro, I cannot figure this out. What is causing all of this? I've even reduced like all of my, like you can see my terrain is rising out of the ground because it's not being as accurate when you're further away. I've completely removed the grass. Okay, let's go back to this. Remove the giant trees. Okay. It's got to be terrain 3D related. Maybe it's terrain 3D collision related. Problem with dynamic collision in Terrain 3D is that everything else needs to collide with stuff, including all of these rigid bodies. Now, I could just change these all to character bodies and just apply gravity when they're not on the floor. Well, I guess they would still fall through the floor. So if I go to Terrain 3D and I do dynamic game, then what happens when I leave? All of these are probably just going to fall through the floor. Okay, they aren't. Interesting. Okay, they didn't. And my FPS is way better. Let's run the profiler. Maybe it was just something having to do with the mountain falling through, like... Oh, because the mountain was moving. That's right. And so it would fall through because it wasn't touching. So the dynamic couldn't tell it like, hey, you're still on the ground. Now my setup constraints is like nothing. There it is. Okay. So we need to make a note of this. We fixed it, which means we can finally bring back grass. Let's turn back on our primitives and draw calls. Okay. So as long as the thing is touching the ground, then it's fine. It won't fall through. And as long as the thing uses navigation layers or navigation meshes to move, and then we just don't allow gravity, then it's fine too, which is what we're doing for the mountain. Okay, so we now go to our Trello board here. That's done. Here we can do dynamic collision fixes frame rate. Things might fall through ground, though. Excuse me. Okay. Man, that's nice to know. New Jank, what's up? Oh, why am I getting hiccups now? Okay, now we can bring back grass. Goodness sakes. How's the dev? Just started, but we did figure out why our performance kept crapping out. Yeah, we're still working on that. And the reason was, it was setup constraints for collision and stuff. And that's because we weren't using dynamic collision for Terrain 3D. So it would generate, or it would detect collision for apparently the entire map, which was great because I needed that, because otherwise your mountain would fall through the ground whenever you walk too far away. But I have since changed the mountain yesterday to not even use gravity. He just uses the navigation mesh. And oh, this is another annoyance. I also can't raycast to the terrain. That was another reason why I turned the collision thing on. So right now we're using dynamic, so I can only tell it to go like a little bit in front of itself. Unless maybe if I turn up the region size. I don't actually know if this is... Let me go to 2048 and just see what happens. I'll get up on top of him because it's more noticeable. Where is he going now? Oh, no. Okay, so that doesn't affect anything. Okay. Collision shape size. I guess we could bump this up. Okay, let's reset that back down. $128. Let's see if that makes it so I can make him walk further. Because we don't need to be able to raycast way out there. We're not going to need to at all. Okay. I think that did make it so I can go further. Although if I click over there outside of the range, then it just like goes behind me. Okay. I don't know. It's janky. It's not good. I wish it would just like, hey, just make it so I have collision everywhere without completely making everything impossible to raycast. I wonder how Jamin does it. Because Jamin has a full map. Maybe he's generating his own collision shape that's fully baked at the very beginning. No, it's still going to be checking constantly. If I tried using jolt physics... is it automatically on? Have to enable it. Okay. Oh. Will everything break if I just enable it? Because if I can use jolt physics, the other thing is I think it might actually do the soft body stuff for my other game correctly. I mean, literally all I have is physics-wise is just... I think the only thing that uses physics is just rigid bodies that don't have any movement. I don't think I have anything else that's like using physics. Let's take a look. Area 3Ds, will not detect overlap with static body, nor rigid body frozen with freeze mode static by default for performance. If you have many large area 3D overlapping with complex static geometry, such as concave height map, you can end up wasting a second. Okay. Only a few small area 3Ds are able to detect collision with static bodies. Do I have any static bodies that are area 3D? I actually don't think I do. Look into it, though, because Jolt is supposed to be much more performant than Godot's. Perfect. For some reason, I just kind of assumed that it was already doing it in the background, because I heard that they added it. And I was like, oh, I'm on a new Godot. Okay. I wonder, let me look at Terrain 3D. Get height and reading the height map directly. Using physics-based collision is not the only way or even the best. Depth texture. Only when you don't already know the XZ. Okay. Must generate. That means collision is only generated where you have defined regions. Out in the world, noise background, there's no terrain data, so no collision. It can be slow. Fade says, I've been trying to figure out a good way to make a slap animation that doesn't affect my lower body movement because I'm using the animation in states. Oh. Try number 34, here we go. There we go. Animating, so doing lower. Are you doing like a separated upper and body half system, which I've never done. I should at some point. We tried the filters in animation nodes. In the animation nodes. I haven't. Or are you talking to Fade? Nodeless, fastest, okay. Yep, a lot more memory. You can filter out different bones so they aren't affected by the animations. Oh, okay. Huh. That would be very useful then if you're doing split, like upper body, lower body. We've gotten a ton of movement animations together for all angles of movement and then blended them together, but using this method I would need to make like 5 animations, so I'm going to look into that. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. I need to figure out how I'm going to animate characters and stuff because, or at least like blending animations and stuff, because I kept running into that with my old RPG game where like the hands would detach because they're blending between different animations. I could just lower the amount of blend time or something maybe. Because the robot, he's like a bunch of separated joints. I guess they could just be fully joined together, but then still keep the same weight painting and all that. I think that's actually probably the way to go. Okay. Raycasting without physics. Ray marching and looking at with the GPU. So I could... In ray marching mode, it iterates over get height until an intersection is reached. This only works within regions. Okay. Looks at a terrain using a camera and a GPU depth texture. So I could just change my raycast to be an actual raycast like this, but yeah. Yep. Okay, so we can't have 5 to 10 enemies who follow the player in a tight area with many faceted collision shapes. Okay. Only for the player and use raycast for the enemies. This allows you to limit the collision checks to a few per enemy, regardless of how many collision faces there are. However, both methods require collision shapes where the enemy is. If you want to have enemies stay on the ground when far from the camera, while using dynamic, exactly, that's what I've had. Could disable all enemy process when away from the camera. Do you really need them moving, playing animations? I mean, sometimes. Because my guy would fall through the ground even if I was looking at him. It's just, he was outside a certain range. Terrain.data.getHeight. Okay. So I have to figure out how to access that terrain, which I guess is just get the terrain 3D. Oh wait, terrain 3D data.getHeight. Okay. Anyway, I was just double checking to see if they have anything with Jolt specifically, but it doesn't seem like it. Why? Okay, we are now using Jolt physics. Let's see if anything breaks. To filter, I think I need to convert to an animation tree. Hopefully this works with NetFox. Gonna end up having to rework your whole system. Okay. Let's see if anything gets all crazy when I... drop a bunch of these rolling down a hill. Okay, not too bad. No no issues with that. I think I can add back in my animations now. Okay, there's a little bit more there. A little bit more movement. So it's not ultra boring. Okay. Yeah. It'll do for now. Okay, now maybe we can build our tree spawning system. Okay, we're gonna, I could use a cursor for this. Some stuff I don't want to use cursor for because I don't like have access to the nodes and all that, but okay. No, not an array. I guess. Will this load? Okay. Yeah, we can just do this. The scene. Let's see here. Where's my tree? Nope. Okay, we can go here. We can go at tool. We can do something called at export var tree count, at export. Yeah, we can do that. Tree height. Should we do tree scale and stuff? Yo, why is this on my main page? I don't game dev. Well, maybe this is your sign that you need to start. This is YouTube calling to you from above that you need to get up, go download Godot, and start coding. Vicious, this is your moment. This is where you can make that change in your life. And you too can start making a game where you jump onto the back of a walking mountain and decide to walk around on top of said mountain. Or build a base on top of it, although I don't have a hammer on me right now, so I can't show you that. But this is it. This is that moment. This is your call to action. I need to add the hammer back in so I can quickly add or show off building mechanics. Also, I'm going to go back and put it back into full screen. I know people don't generally do this, but I like to look at my game in full screen. Does mean a lot more alt tabbing. Okay, let's go to our world scene again. We're going to grab one of these item scenes. We're going to move it over here. And we are going to load the hammer into it. Hammer resource going in. We're going to grab another one. Move it over here. Going to grab the axe. There are no trees as of yet to cut down, but I'm going to throw some in because I want to. So, tree. Nope, not those. Need tree. Then we grab this one, bring it over here. Grab that one, bring it over there. Okay, now we got a couple trees in here. There's my hammer and my axe. I can pick up some wood. Oh, I just realized that all of these are quantity of one, so I pick up like 400 of them and barely have any wood. I have enough to be able to put down windows and one ceiling, half of a base. For the rest, I will need to go chop down another tree. There we go. I put all the wood costs really low because it's annoying to have to like go chop down trees when I need to. Window. Should also revamp this build menu right here because this is boring. But Epic, thank you, man. I appreciate it. This is kind of the general idea of the game. Right now it looks really bad because I've been working on performance so much that I've been stripping everything out of the game. Not that there's that much more, it's just trees, really. But I've been stripping so much out of the game because I was trying to figure out why my performance was horrible. Like my frame rate was just terrible. Now it's back to fine because I disabled collision for all of this terrain unless you're right next to it. So then it works. But that took a while. And another thing that was breaking it was VSync. VSync was destroying my frame rate before. But yeah, this is going to be the end goal, is to make a game where You bring your base with you. Survival game. And the main thing is, you know, go around, build up your supplies, craft things, explore. But you can bring your base with. You don't have to go return, you know. Come here, mountain. Hey, there we go. All right. What was I gonna do? Oh, I was gonna work on the tree spawner. That's right. So we have these tree scenes. We also have big trees. We could probably bring those in as well. Let's get rid of that. So we need to get the terrain height. That's the main thing. Oh. So we need to... Hey, Forgetful, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, thank you, Andrew, for the subscription on YouTube. Appreciate it, man. How's it going? Okay, so you can make a huge moving fortress. Actually, yes, and my end goal is I'm still playing with this, but I really like the idea because there's not a lot of real estate on top of that guy, but you're definitely going to be able to build it tall and maybe a little wider than he is. But I really like the idea of you building both a main base on the ground, and here, let me grab these items and up some of these quantities. Let's delete some of this wood and make the rest of it 100, so I can show a little more of the build system. But basically, you'll have bases that are on the ground. Like your main base still might be a ground base, but the world is going to be very dangerous, and so you might build your main base on the ground. You know, set up, and then when you want to go out for the good loot. If you go by ground, just walking, everything's really dangerous, especially at night. And so the moving fortress is like your mobile base that you can't build as much on top of it. You can't build a giant fortress, but you can still store loot and stuff. And then bring it back to your main base. So that would be like kind of the main idea is you're kind of going around. Oh, what just broke? Out of bounds, get index 12. Okay. This is in build preview. Should show, if not should show preview. Where's should show preview? Oh, we can do this here. And player dot current build component does not equal what would it be? I can just do player dot build components dot deconstruct. Yes. But yeah, the general idea is, you know, you go out, you gather resources using your mobile bases, you bring it back to your main one, explore with it, but then also eventually you find more of these guys, and you might have 3 or 4 of these guys all walking in a chain, you know, one behind the other, maybe even actually like chained together, and have an actual like mobile fortress. You know, that would be sick. So, okay, now let's see if it still does it. Okay, sick. Stairway, nice, that works still. But yeah, Vicious, we're mostly right now we're kind of doing just a lot of like mechanics development, and then also getting our performance under control, because like I said earlier, we had terrible frame rates happening. Right now I'm at 144, which is great. Should actually move my webcam over here. That way people can actually see the FPS. There it is. Now it's on screen. Okay. Yeah, performance has been a big problem initially, but we have mostly figured it out. And now what I want to do is build a tree spawner that doesn't use Terrain 3D's foliage instancing. Because I've got to figure out a good way of doing it. And I'm thinking just a tree spawner that I can put nodes in different places. Because I don't know if I can access Terrain 3D's multi-meshes, really. Because I need to be able to access where a tree is, so then I can spawn in an actual tree scene there. Okay, let's do a multi-mesh. I wonder if I can do... Here, let's do this in cursor and see if it can auto-suggest things. Okay. Wait a second. Does this multi-mesh, can it have multiple meshes? Let's try it with our tree one joined GLB. Oh, we can't use that. Hey, thank you, Vicious, for the sub. I appreciate it, man. Slowly but surely, our YouTube is actually getting some subs, which is nice to see. I haven't really done any videos yet, although I've done some, but I have some planned, some game development ones, some just like tutorial stuff, and then some other like game updates, devlogs, those types of things. Okay. I have not used a multi-mesh before. Now, what can I export as? So, if I go back to my open recent, we have tree one joined blend. Okay, this one here, if I export, or actually, can I just bring Let me do a save as, put this tree one joined blend file into my temp folder here. Can I pull a blend file into a mesh? That would be sick. No, I cannot. Okay. Well, what do I... Okay, OBJ was what I was using before, but that's not very good. Let's try an FBX file. I have no idea what an FBX file is. We're going to throw it in the temp one. Okay. Okay, you cannot put an FBX file in there. So it kind of has to be an OBJ. Okay, let's try, or not an OBJ, no, it is an OBJ. GLB is the one that doesn't work. So wavefront OBJ right here. Okay, now it has this. Let's go to our spawner and let's just get it to spawn these things. We don't spawn real tree. Whoops. Real tree. Fake tree position. Okay. Spawn fake tree. This is not going to be fake tree. This is going to be I'm trying to reason through how this is. So basically what we have going on, if I go to paint, let's go ahead and dump this. Choose that, go here, go here. So we're going to have a multi-mesh that draws trees, right? These are just meshes. They don't have collision. You can't chop them down. You can't do anything to them. But they're all in a multi-mesh, so it's just one draw call, very smooth, fast. But then when you walk up to them, it needs to drag this mesh down, just this one, and spawn a real tree in its place. So now this one has collision. It has a hurt box. You can chop it down. So we need to keep track of where the fake trees are and then swap them out with real trees when the player might interact with them. That's the general idea. But I think this here... I'm going to get rid of all of this stuff here and see what cursor does, because I need to, ready. Okay. That's not super helpful. In range, tree position, instances I.global position equals tree. Okay. Let's see if cursor knows what it's doing, because I've never used a multi-mesh before. This is at tool. Maybe I can reload current project. It might error out here. Oh, maybe not. Mesh instances on type, base of type. Okay, mesh instances. So it should just be mesh. Okay. This is where we go to the docs. Okay, multi-mesh provides high-performance drawing of a mesh multiple times using GPU instancing. Okay, so low-level mesh instancing, perfect. Performance may be reduced as every single instance will always render. Okay, so you kind of want them all close together. Since instances may have any behavior, the AABB for visibility must be provided by the user. Okay, using multi-mesh. Okay, setting up the nodes. Basic setup requires 3 nodes, a multi-mesh instance, and then 2 mesh instances. One node is used as a target. The surface mesh that you want to place multiple meshes on. In the tree example, this would be the landscape. The other node is used as the source, the mesh that you want to have duplicated. In the tree case, this would be the tree itself. We would use a node 3D as the root of the scene. Populate surface. Okay, so target surface, mesh you want duplicated on the target surface. Okay. We're going to do this. We're going to go back here. So this needs 2 mesh instances. But why does this show that it has a mesh? Okay, we're going to make this 40 by 40 and see if we can figure out what this is doing here. What is use custom data? Okay, does this seem up to date? Source mesh? Oh, it's up there. Populate surface. Ah, target surface. Okay. Source mesh. Whoops, right there. Okay. So, I see. Weird. Now, if I delete these, and I just throw a mesh in here. Oh, okay. Okay, let's delete this and start over because it might be holding on to some stuff. Okay, multi-mesh. Boom, we grab this, we throw this in the mesh. Okay, so we don't have a mesh instance to populate. Does this mean that I'm going to have to... Well, okay, if I go into here and I bring my tree spawner scene in, and we do editable children, then maybe I can go populate surface. We can only do the outline shader. So, okay. I think instead we do this all programmatically. Okay, on ready. Add export var fake tree meshes. Array mesh. Nope. Let's do this. Let's go to the tree spawner script. Let's grab where was it again? Oh, array mesh. Well, it is exported. Okay, so now we can go here, add an element, and we should be able to drag that in. Perfect. Okay. Now we can go back here. Fake tree mesh. Okay, pick random. Perfect. Fake tree instance. Mesh instance. 3d.new. Fake tree instance.mesh. Fake tree mesh. Fake tree instance global position. Okay, let's see what happens when we reload this. Does anything happen? I can kind of see the logic of what it's trying to do. Okay. Binge Boy, what's up? What did that add element in the inspector button do? I'm new to Godot. So I exported, as you can see here, I have the fake tree meshes array, which is an array or a list of meshes. But I've exported it, so that means that I can access this variable, just like if I did at export name or just something number, which is an int, and I just did that. Oh, okay. I have to set it to something. So I could do number equals 0, or can I? Number in class body. Oh, var. Okay. Exported variable number int 0. Now I could go here, and it shows up right there. So it shows number. Oh, I also see that my camera is just never in the right spot. Okay, I'll throw this down here. But yeah, so you can see that number is there now. And now if I wanted to make it bigger or smaller, I can do that in the editor. But since I have the array thing, currently it's a list of size 0, so there's nothing in it. So then I press add element, and it knows that it's an array of meshes. So it instantly only accepts meshes there. So then I can go to my tree mesh, and I can drag it in. And now this fake tree meshes has that mesh in the array. It's an array you apply meshes to through the inspector. Yeah. Which I could do it programmatically, but this kind of works. That way I can switch them out easily and not have to copy and paste code in. Yeah. So whenever you export a variable, then you can access it here. Okay. Now, what am I trying to do? Okay, we have global position. Now this is not letting me. This kind of seems like it's. Oh, we haven't like added it to the tree. Let's go back to our cursor and then let's actually add it to the tree. Multi-mesh mesh instances append. Well, let's see if multi-mesh actually has mesh instances. I don't actually think we need this. I think what we need is oh, that is correct right there. So multi-mesh has just the multi-mesh thing there. Okay, and then this specifically has instance count. Okay. Instance count equals tree count, and then set instance transform. Okay. This is sounding more like it right here. Multi-mesh dot actually, let's do this within the Godot editor so then we can see. Mesh dot thanks for explaining. No problem. Yeah, I'm still learning a ton here. There is a lot to learn. Okay, what did they call it again? It was okay. If if I go here into 3D, populate surface, and then it's target surface and source mesh. Okay, so it's not that, but maybe it's multi-mesh dot target. No. Set target? No. Okay, I mean, it's not really showing it, so we're just gonna go into here and run it and just see what happens. Okay, so nothing has happened. We want to be able to see this in the editor too. So let me go ahead and reload current project again. We'll see if it shows it in the editor. I don't think it will, just because if it didn't work in game, then it's probably not going to be there. Okay. Mesh asset 1 is null. Use transform. Okay. Can't set transform 3D on a multi-mesh. Okay. Why can't I? Must be 0 to change the transform. Okay. I should probably just look up a tutorial on how to do this. Oh, hey, look at that. We got some trees. Okay. So instance transform. We're doing 0 and then tree spacing, negative tree spacing to tree spacing. So that's just kind of the spread. So one thing we could do is we could do something like or a tree, like tree locations. Okay. Location vector 3 equals and then we could do tree, nope, tree locations dot append. Okay, now let's just run it and see what happens. Okay, nice. We now have trees spawning in around the tree spawner. So now we also have a list of the locations of the trees. It's actually a print. Here we can do print tree locations. And then we can rerun this to make sure that it's actually saving that data. Perfect. We've got all of these vector 3s. So now we can spawn. We could spawn like an area detection thing. How do we keep track of which instance, though, needs to be moved? Okay, we're doing this. We don't need this. We don't need to set that there. We can do this here. Okay, so the instance count is there. Let me just make sure nothing breaks. Can you give me an overview of what you're doing? Yeah, so pretty much. So here we've got these red trees, which are spawned in via multi-mesh, which basically takes one mesh and copies it a bunch of times, or however much you need. But it does it in a performant way. As you can see here, they are kind of grouped weirdly, so I'd have to do my logic not completely random. But basically, it's very performant, so it doesn't cost a lot of FPS, you know, to do a multi-mesh. These trees over here are real tree scenes. Oh, I still haven't fixed that. That you can like cut down. The problem is I can't just copy and paste these everywhere or spawn them everywhere because they have collision shapes. They have area 3Ds for like detecting when I swing an axe and hit it. Things like that, which are not performant. And each one is its own draw call to the GPU, which means that the GPU is having to draw a bunch of different things. Whereas with the multi-mesh, it's all jammed into one draw call. So even if you have a ton of them, it's faster, basically. The problem is with this multi-mesh, as you can see, it's just a mesh. So what I'm trying to do is whenever you get close enough to be able to interact with a tree, I want to swap it out with a real tree, not just a mesh. And then if you leave, I want to swap it back to the multi-mesh. But if you walk up to it and hit the tree once, it should always stay a real tree because it needs to keep its state. Like its health and all that. I don't want to respawn a tree in there. If you've already hit it once, it should stay at the amount of health it has and all that. So that's what we're trying to figure out. First, I'm just trying to figure out how to spawn these guys in, which now we have it. But then we need to keep track of their locations and which instance it is. which I don't know how to get that, basically. There was a video I was watching. Maybe I can pull it up. Where he was spawning in collision with it. Oh, but I don't know how to get the instance to bring it back. Let me think here. Let's see if I can find something. I get it. Thanks. You're swapping chords with the mesh versus scene based on how near the player is to it. Yeah. Yeah, it's just... Well, I mean, one thing I could do is... I guess the main thing is, how do I get the right instance to get rid of? Yeah.
We're going to cover how to scatter grass and trees on terrain in Godot 4. This process will save you a lot of time and is super useful for foliage. If you want to see more tutorials by clicking,
let's see what this guy is.
click it and press download. You can
Proton scatter
via the link in the description.
This is just a plugin.
Page. Now when it's installed, search for showcase and open up the scene. This scene is great for figuring out how the plugin works, but I'm gonna make a new 3D scene and add a CSG box and drag it out a little bit. Now I'm gonna...
This guy might not know how to do the...
You can also mess around with the rotation and other stuff.
Oh wait,
when
project?
you're happy with that, you can save a preset and load it in the future. Next up, the scatter item. This is where you determine what item will be spawned. In my case, it's a stylized bush. It could also be grass. Another important setting for this one is the scale multiplier, in case you think it's too
Does
big.
he go over
A little bit bigger. And for the duplicate this,
like collision and
for
all
the
that?
grass and make it negative, and also change it to the graph shape. Up here in I'm just gonna remove all these points, the CSG box, and make it green. And drag in some trees.
Okay, now he's just dragging in trees.
And this is what you can make with this tool, super fast.
Okay, that's
easy.
cool
And
for
if you
things
have
that don't need to be interacted
questions,
with,
leave
but
them down below. And
this is the one that I was watching.
By the number of rows, and it's rounded up or down to the nearest
So
integer.
create multi-mesh.
Generally, the reason for rounding values in this script is to avoid...
He's using like a height
precision
map to get
errors,
the
which
height.
would cause your trees to jitter. Height map, also an export variable, is a 2D texture. It has to be the same one that you're using for your terrain displacement. In fact, in my implementation of this technique, I grabbed the height map directly from the vertex shader that does the ground displacement. This await here is crucial. You must wait for the texture to load up, otherwise the code would continue to run and you would have no pixel data and you'd get errors. Once the texture is loaded, we're going to grab the noise image from it and also get its height and width and save them into the height and width variables because we'll need that data later. This script is attached.
Does he do any extra stuff?
Position X by instance spacing, which is our spacing parameter. And we also do the same for the Z component of the global position.
I know he adds collision shape, so he added
bigger so that you can
let's see
actually
here.
see it. And now let's run the scene and hopefully you guys can see the colliders moving with the trees. This is the same set of colliders throughout. They just get repositioned on every update. Now, why would I use multi-mesh over GPU particles? I hear you ask. And we can rotate the instances on all three axes. But what we really want to do is randomize the rotation, especially on the y-axis. Although increase the coverage radius to say 100. This is the radius of the area surrounding the plane.
Generate colliders. Is that just something he's doing in code?
Height map.
Wait, instance
Offset
count.
is instance amount divided.
Mesh. Yeah, I'm not sure because this is something that like I want to do, but I don't know if I know enough to be able to do it yet. Let me see if ChatGPT has any like guidance. Let's see here. I want to create a node 3D that spawns in a multi-mesh of trees. These trees need to detect when the player is near and swap out that instance with... I mean, one thing I could do is literally just spawn them in chunks. So like 15 trees get loaded in instead of just each one individually. That I could do pretty easily because then I could just hide the whole spawner and then I wouldn't need to keep track of... Well, no, I still do because if you cut down a tree, it needs to pull out that instance. Okay. That, let's say, mesh instance with an actual tree scene. So it can be collided with and cut down, etc. Then if the tree is cut down, we need to delete that instance on the multi-mesh, but not the other instances. Also, if nothing changes with the tree, it's not chopped or anything, then when the player leaves the area, we need to swap back in the instance and remove the tree scene. Let's see what it says. Index, world, instance index, and world position. Oh, okay. So we get the index of it. Player moves, and the tree was untouched, revert to multi-mesh. Emit signal on destruction, can be chopped, has collider, plays animation. Okay. I wonder if I could just pop this in. Wait, if not player, what is this? Instance data. Okay. This is permanently remove. Okay, we don't need any of the tree stuff. Okay, let me literally just grab all this. And see if it just works. Because I can see the logic at least. Extend, oh. Okay, now we got breaking stuff because it's not giving me. Don't need that. Need that to be an int. We don't actually even want that. We're just doing all of our type fixing here real quick. It's not a, it's a forest tree. Okay, and then, wait, tree, active trees. Where are we appending that? Let's close. Let's save and then close and then go to our cursor and see if it knows how to guess that. Think, okay. Okay. Why is this? Okay. Instance data. Oh. Okay, we're just going to do that. And we're going to go to here and we're going to add them to a group. We're going to see if this works. Is Godot 4 more type strict than 3? I see lots of code throw errors like that. They added the ability to make it more strict. So I turned that on so then I have full types for everything. So you can make it strict, which can be kind of annoying if you're building a large project because then or if you're halfway through a larger project because then you have to go through and change everything. But it is nice to have because it just speeds everything up in general. Okay, let's see what breaks. Okay, cannot do... Oh, because we actually need to put our tree scene. So tree mesh is that, and then okay, this is purple, which is technically the wrong color, but this should make it very obvious. Okay, it broke. tree index int why is it doing tree index? Tree spawner. Why do we need that? First, how is it getting our distance? So it's... Okay, it's just doing that. Which this is probably not the way to do it, but... Okay, we're not going to do that. Non-existent function. Okay, so this is not a real thing. Can I do this? No, that doesn't make any sense. What's the Well, first let's see if it spawns in a tree. We don't have to hide the other one yet. Oh. We can get rid of that. And we can get rid of this. We can figure out how to do that stuff later. For now, we do have trees getting spawned in. Nice. And getting removed and then added back in. Although it's not really happening there. Let's go to main. Let's grab this, delete it. Okay. Oh, we have an ad starting soon, just a heads up. Okay, I've got my axe. We can see real trees are spawned in and then despawning as we get further away. Because the purple ones are the ones that are spawning in. Yep. So now we get closer. Why is there nothing spawned in there? But we can chop these ones. Why is it... Oh. It is doing it. Weird. Is it because it's anchored over here? And actually, we don't need this. Let's reload this. Why does it do it all over there? Distance to position. Okay. I am going to ask real quick. This is not a real method. Okay, there we go. Let's do a function remove or swap tree to real and swap tree to fake. Okay. Now I'm kind of, okay, this is saying don't respawn. So we could go to our forest trees. Say, var is chopped equals false. Bool. Whoops. Okay, swap tree to fake, which then brings that back up to 0, I guess. Something like that. To be honest, not really understanding what I'm doing here. Okay. I'm not going to do that yet. This needs to be negative. Yeah, this needs to go between negative 100, 100. Just do this and see what's up. I don't know. Okay. Nice. Now it is spread all around us. Oh. We're getting some random trees getting swapped in where they shouldn't be. Getting trees getting deleted and added. We are getting trees where they should be. We're just also getting trees where they shouldn't be. Why are we getting... Oh. Because we queued it free. Okay, it's spawning it in there. Oh, why is it also removing? Okay. It's because we're swapping to fake. Active trees has I. This is odd. This might be something I have to work on at a later time because I just don't understand the exact process. I could instead like just spawn an area 3D that detects the player on every instance. So how is he doing instance data? Array vector 3s. Scene instance, active trees. Instance data append. Then we say the transform. I'm trying to figure out, so this is position of each tree and then scene instance. Okay. And this is a dictionary. Index and then scene instance. Yeah, this might be something I just have to leave for another day. I'm kind of brain dead at the moment. Plus, I have to get off here soon. Actually, probably right now. So I will leave this for another time. At least we did get some of our performance issues. RCB, what's up? We did get some of the performance issues figured out. This is going to be the next one. But I would really like it if I could, you know, spawn these trees in performantly, basically. Save and commit? Yeah, might as well. But this has been pretty productive, considering I'm not feeling super well right now. Unfortunately, RCB, I will not take that shot simply because I am feeling slightly, I don't know if I'm just dehydrated or what, but I'm feeling a little woozy. Let me go into software and game development and see who is online that I could raid. Let's take a look. Small block boy, let's raid him. Had to empty out the points, yep. Okay, I'll get that raid started. But thank you all for being here. Seems like you're headed in the right direction. Cool project. I like the show. Thanks, Binge Boy. I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll figure it out eventually. This is obviously ChatGPT's stuff, so I'll clean it up and figure out a better way of doing it. But I like the idea of being able to just put these little tree spawners and tell it how many trees it needs. And then just, you know, yeah, be able to do it performantly like that. As long as we can figure out how to keep track of where the instances are and stuff. But yeah, thank you for being here, Binge Boy, Vicious, Fade, Alex in the YouTube chat. Appreciate you all. In the Twitch chat, we've got RCB, Forgetful, New Jank. And I know there was more, but peace out. Have a good one. I'm going to send you over on the raid now. Let's make sure that that raid actually went through. Sometimes it doesn't. Yep, there it did. Okay, sweet. But yeah, we will see you all later. Have a good one. Peace. I should be back on again tomorrow.